All right, guys, welcome back to another installment of the Primarch Korra series. And this time we're going to be focusing on the Ursa Majors, the 11th Legion. Because remember, if you want a quick upkeep of this story, this is basically an alternate universe where the Emperor made a single female Primarch, and that's Korra. She is known as the 11th. The second Primarch is still missing or dead. So. Um, Korra is the 11th. Like I said, she's the 11th Primarch, and her sons are the Ursa Majors. When we last left off, after the events of the Horus Heresy / the Scouring, Korra was left in a stasis field after a fatal battle with Mortarion. She and Mortarion did battle. He wounded her, much like how Fulgrim wounded Gilliman, and Korra is now like in a stasis field on her homeworld. And yeah, the Ursa Majors are now moving forward. So this storyline is just focusing on the Ursa Majors post the Horus Heresy, post losing their gene mother, and where we go from here. Now, for the most notable characters, you have Mako, who is the chapter master. You have Bolin, who is his brother in real life, and they both became Space Marines. They both became Astartes. And you also have Chief Librarian Tenzin, who it's a little unorthodox because Korra insisted, because he was her advisor before she was found for the Great Crusade, and basically Tenzin already had a family. Well, now his two sons Milo and Rohan were converted into Astartes when they were old enough, so they basically are now that. And his family, he did have a family. But we're going to talk about the Ursa Majors, how they function, what they're like, and where they stand in the 10,000 year gap of leading through the several wars we've had in the 41st millennium. So let's get into it. Now, the Ursa Majors, I didn't really talk much about them and what they are as a functional Space Marine chapter. Basically, the Ursa Majors are built for harsh environments, not in the way the Death Guard are. They are meant for like toxic. The Death Guard are more like for toxic or inhospitable places. Here, the Ursa Majors were created by the Emperor to deal with the like harsh, like a planet that's scorching hot, or a planet that is like freezing cold, or like deep freezing cold. These guys are meant for battle on just the planets that are deemed like, holy shit, how is anyone still alive here? So that's what the Ursa Majors were built for. They basically were trained under Korra to be kind of almost like the salamanders. They care a lot about humanity. They care a lot about humanity. They get to stay around their family. But the thing of it is, they also have a bit of a paranoia to them. Just a wee bit of paranoia, because like I said in the previous video, their biggest ops is the Alpha Legion. During the Horus Heresy, the Alpha Legion infiltrated the Ursa Majors, killed several of their brothers, and led to an ambush that damaged the chapter for a while and kind of made it hard for them to keep up during the heresy. So there's always been a bit of paranoia among the Ursa Majors, because they always have a fear that the Alpha Legion are among them. The reason being, is like when Ursa Majors go out on missions and then come back, they are heavily vetted. They're like pulled aside and heavily vetted, just because they're like, they're so worried about the Alpha Legion infiltrating their ranks again, that they are more than terrified of having another ambush or attack on them, especially in their home world and somewhere close to where their gene mother is sleeping. Now, the other thing that makes them interesting is that the Ursa Majors, some number of them are Psychers. Only it's a little different, because here in the world of the Four Nations, the Psychers are basically, they can channel one element at a time. That's how they channel their Psyker energy, is through the elements. They aren't really, because of this and why they have a high number of Psychers among them, they aren't really liked even though they are a loyalist legion and they've proved their loyalty, there are some other Space Marine, there are Astarte chapters who just don't like them or like being around them. The Space Wolves mock them and um, harass them for being, for having wizards. You also have like the Dark Angels. They don't like them. They are Codex compliant to a level. They kind of see the Codex Astartes as like, we will follow it, but if need be, we will break it in order to save lives. Like, that's how they see it. They are on equal footing with the Ultramarines, but even the Ultramarines are like, you guys aren't exactly Codex compliant, are you? But yeah, so there's always a aura of that. They also, outside of the Astartes, or other Space Marine chapters, the Ursa Majors actually have a surprising ally, the Tau. Basically, the Tau and the Majors have kind of an armistice between them. Essentially, what had happened was there was an Orc-Wa that attacked their several planets in their system, leading to the Ursa. The Ursa Majors put out a plea, but no one was nearby except for a Tau fleet that was kind of doing some expansion, some colonization on some neighboring worlds. The Tau accepted, and the Tau and not really like the Majors were getting overrun by the Orc-Wa, and Bolin, who was in charge of defending some of the planets, was like, I really don't have time to be like a beggars can't be choosers kind of situation, so he accepted the Xenos help. So the Tau and the Majors actually fought alongside each other to drive off the Orc-Wa. This did lead to the Tau basically being like, do you guys embrace the greater good? And they're like, no, we do not, but we won't kill you. In fact, like, it as a sign of gratitude, basically, if Tau ships are in the system of the four nations, that's what they call it. The Imperium calls it another word, like they have a name for that planet, another word, but those who have lived on the four nations call it the four nations. So they basically told the Tau, if you're in our system and you don't start anything, like as long as you don't fire on us, and also don't try to preach this whole greater good bullshit, tell you what, if you are in our system and if you need help or just passing through, we'll let you pass through, no problem. And also, if you need our help, we're honor bound to aid you. So the Tau accepted those terms, but they're always like, but the greater good though, leave before I put a bolter through your head. Leave, little blue man. So yeah, the Tau have a kind of, like I said, there's a tenuous truce between the Tau and the Majors. As for they also, like, when the Damocles Crusade happened, the Ursa Majors were like, oh, sorry, we're dealing with other stuff right now. We gotta go fight orcs or something. Yeah. As for other events, like, remember, Mako is the chapter master, and he's been overseeing the chapter and its successor chapters. One that got them into the most trouble was the Red Lotus chapter. The Red Lotus, basically, in this continuity, the Red Lotus is a successor chapter of the Ursa Majors. And in here, they were put in charge of helping to guard the Maelstrom. If you're wondering, yes, this is part where they get involved in the Badab War, because the Red Lotus, whose chapter master was Zahir basically was like, this Huron guy, he's got the right idea, you know. So the Red Lotus commit their loyalty to the Astral Claws. This, of course, didn't really put the Ursa Majors in the best light, even though they are a founding legion. To have one of your successor chapters openly support a traitor group didn't look great. So what was Mako and the others to do? They basically said, we're taking you out. Like, you know, you basically have shamed our chapter. You have shamed your brothers. We're going to go after you. So the Ursa Majors joined the Badab War to utterly decimate the Red Lotus. So war goes on. Basically, it goes about the same way, but the Ursa Majors are very prominent in like helping to continue the war as seen fit. They are constantly fighting the Red Lotus as well as helping to fight the other chapters. They actually but they do actually show like a lot, like Bolin and Mako show a lot of discussing like we are not working with them. If you're wondering, them are the space sharks and the minotaurs. Like they liked working with the salamanders and all of them, but when it came to the minotaurs and the space sharks, they're like, you are not, and also the firehawks, they're like, you're all monsters. Ugh, we're just here because our chapter's has been shamed, and we recognize that like there's innocent lives at stake. So they did play a major part. They did play a part in doing battle, and it's actually where Zahir and Mako meet in battle in open combat during the Badab War, and Mako is slain. Mako's killed by Zahir in combat, and with his dying breath, he says Bolin is to be the new chapter master. So Bolin takes over, and he does avenge Zahir and he does slay Zahir, and rather than let because the Red Corsairs get captured, Bolin makes a point to the High Lords of Terra. He literally says, do not let them go on a penitence crusade. They're traitors. We will deal with them. So the Red Lotus chapter is shall we say, excommunicado in the fullest extent. So after that, the Ursa Majors are they help in several other battles. They help the Ultramarines during the Tyrannic War. There are several instances, but the big thing that I forgot to mention earlier in this video is that the planet of the Four Nations is on the Imperial Nihilist side. So when the Eye of Terror happens, it splits them off from the Imperial, from the main Imperium. So they're one of the many legions on that side. Now, Cadia is destroyed, and now, obviously the Imperium is like, hey, we gotta we have to wake up Guilliman. But there's also talk of now, Abaddon is also like, they're gonna wake up Guilliman, and we know where another Primarch is. The 13th and 11th Primarchs are known. Like, we know where they are. So if we can take out either of them, because Abaddon at the moment, when he hears talk of a Primarch returning, he's just like, it's got to be one of those two, so we got to take them out simultaneously. So there is a two-pronged attack on Macragge as well as the Four Nations. What they didn't know is they were never going to bring back Korra. It was going to be Guilliman. But, however, the Tau found out. Like, the Tau found out of this and were like, hey, I bet our technology could bring her back. So basically the Tau tell them, hey, these weird space marines are coming to your world. Do you want our help? So the Tau and the Ursa Majors mount a defense, and the Ethereals actually offer their aid in bringing Korra back, healing Korra's wounds and bringing her out of stasis. So during the battle, where the Black Legion is descending upon the Ursa Major's homeworld, and they are just fighting desperately with everything they have to keep Korra safe. Korra is woken up, goes full Psyker, and just blasts the Black Legion away. Just starts devastating them left and right, and just looks at her chapter master Bolin and is like, "What the hell is going on?" So that's where we're gonna leave off with. So yeah, If this video does well, I'll just keep going to the next chapter, which will be Korra now a part of the era Indominus, and what happens next after that. So you guys tell me in the comments below, do you guys want to keep this up for at least one or two more videos, or just want to stop? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.